You know how we've always talked about having a voice box in the control van?
1 minute to auto-destruct.
That's not what this video is about, but hopefully this video will be.
Fascinating.
All right, enough of that stuff. So this video is meant to be about the ESP32. If you don't know what an ESP32 is, this is the WESP networked version that we're talking about using in the network bottle, that we are going to use in the network bottle. The other two gizmos here are just cheapo generic ESP32s. What's on the screen here is Home Assistant, and within Home Assistant is ESPHome, which is an add-on, and the ESP32s that are on the bench here are programmed with ESPHome, and then they show up as an entity or device in Home Assistant. So I have here the servo, which is the little servo here on the bench. It's just a little hobby servo hooked up to a little ESP32. And in the back is one of our BotBlocks GigaBlocks switches, and that's hooked up to another ESP32 with two of the wires that come out of it for external LED going into the ground and one of the inputs on the ESP32, and that's making this little pulse counter here. So every time the LED flashes, you get how many times it's flashing. On the Stream Deck also is running the Home Assistant plugin, and I just have that set up so it's a sub page. Press that and it goes to the sub page. You could have pages up or down. Here, if I press this guy, it cycles the servo to its other limit. Press it again, it cycles it back. This gizmo here is a Wemos D1 Mini. It's an ESP8266. It's the cheaper version, or the one that came out before the ESP32. It's like a $2 board. It has a $2 relay shield on top of it, and it's hooked up to a little voltage current sensor gizmo that I use on my wind turbine, and has a fan and LED hanging off of the relay. It's running the same firmware that the sensors in the control van are running, and that is Tasmota. So the difference between that and ESPHome, they're very similar, but Tasmota is installed with a web installer, and then this little web page here is being generated on the little Wemos, so you don't need Home Assistant at all. You install the firmware, and then it leads you to this page, and you tell it what Wi-Fi and do module configuration. And won't go into that here, but super easy, no code at all. It's all UI based. On the Stream Deck and in Home Assistant is the relay. So if I press the relay button here, the relay turns on, the fan comes on, and it updates here on the Home Assistant screen. So if I turn it off on the Home Assistant screen, it also turns off on the Stream Deck. Same thing on my phone. So if I press the mirror on my phone, the Stream Deck updates and the web UI updates. A little current sensor is showing, what is it, pulling 1 watt at 12 volts and I think 90 milliamps, something like that. So that's updating again, both on the UI for the device itself, for Home Assistant, and it's updating here on the Stream Deck, and it's also updating on my phone. One last thing I wanted to mention, everything that's in Home Assistant can then be spit out via MQTT directly to Grafana, so it doesn't need to go in or out of a database. It can, of course, and be recorded for posterity. These guys are off another Tasmota device I have, and that's a live stream. So it's just spitting out MQTT and using the Grafana MQTT streaming plugin. Okay, that's like more than enough. I'm gonna go up one page and just press this button because it's stupid.
Unable to comply.